Hello there, what is going on everyone? Today we are going to be looking at some really cool terrain from the latest Streets of Yarkassy Kickstarter from War Scenery. This is going to be 3D printable terrain for your tabletop miniatures games like Star Wars Shatterpoint or Star Wars Legion, or even Warhammer 40K, Age of Sigmar, etc. It's going to be some very cool stuff. We're going to look at 4 different pieces in this video, and we'll give you a link where you can check out the latest Kickstarter and consider a pledge if you want to do that, or see what else they have to offer. All of that's going to be in the description below. Also, we are still doing our $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. Big thanks to War Scenery for sending this out for review. They sent us these 4 pieces, and I'll talk about each of them a little bit, and we'll give you guys a closer look. So with all that being said, let's dive in and look a little closer. So first up is our smallest building. This one is a great piece of kind of scatter terrain. It's a little bit taller than most little pieces of scatter terrain, so it's going to be fully line of sight blocking for a lot of your smaller individual troopers and stuff like that. But it's kind of like an outhouse. I think they call this one the toilet house if you go to the Kickstarter page, which is kind of funny because really one of those things that's adorable is there really aren't many bathrooms in science fiction and in fantasy in general, especially Star Wars. I don't know if before the Mandalorian actually gave us one, there really wasn't any, but now they're canon. People in Star Wars actually do have to go to the bathroom at some point in time, so there's a place for that. Now this is a single piece. It's printed actually extremely well, by the way, which is very cool. And yeah, there's not a whole lot to it. There's a little bit of ground here, so you can kind of paint that. I mean, I think ideally this sort of terrain kind of speaks to a sort of kind of maybe Asian or Southwest Asian sort of maybe a Bedouin kind of maybe Egypt, maybe Iraq, maybe somewhere around there, that kind of thing. Tatooine sort of planets with a little bit of that Star Wars or alien vibe to it. So it kind of fits into stuff like that. So maybe some kind of brownish or yellowish sort of dirt might be good on there if you're into painting. I may put a little bit of paint on some of these as well. Let's look at the next piece. All right, so this is our next piece. This looks like a single family home, a single dwelling. It's got some pretty cool features. It's got stairs that are going to come up on the back side that can come up kind of partway so, and then potentially all the way up to the top. It looks like partway is, let me just do a size comparison really quick, is about the same height as a stormtrooper. We'll do more photos towards the end. We'll do some shots with all like a bunch of miniatures, so you can kind of get a sense of scale for some of the pieces that we have here today. But there's a lot more than what we're looking at. There's also walls and a lot of dynamic pieces that can kind of interlink with each other, and you can do a lot with those. But we've got a kind of a mostly flat top here, so this can be a great place, a great lookout type of house to have an entire unit sitting on top of. You could probably even fit an oversized unit on top of here, or maybe like an E-Web or something like that, potentially, or it's even big enough and flat enough for some of your vehicles to be able to land on here. Also, I want to point out that there's a lot of dynamic pieces to this. While I did glue a lot of these things on, you don't necessarily have to. And so like these little pieces right here didn't have to go on there, and I put those on. There's a lot of little bit of customization and customizable bits and stuff that can go into here. I glued some of these on because I don't intend to change it very much, but you can totally do that, and you could have kept it more flat to make it a little bit easier if like you had an airspeeder that wanted to land on top of this building, for example. So very cool, and a lot of extra interesting little design elements, like boxes and cups and vases and power lines coming across the side, and a lot of things that kind of make your terrain stand out as opposed to just being straight up geometric shapes. There's a lot of personality tucked away into a building like this. All right, next up we've got an outdoor trading post, so to speak, some kind of really cool, maybe Jawa or Tuscan sort of outpost here. Again, this will kind of go right into your dirt, so I like the idea if you're going to paint something like this, do kind of maybe multi-tone so it can work on different types of play mats. If you want it to work on grass or dirt or sand or rock or snow, think about what kind of play mats you're going to want and make it to where it can maybe possibly work on multiples, or or just do kind of, focus more on like the metallic parts that are also in here as well, which is cool. You've got different, like maybe they're cooking over here, maybe they're selling some food and some junk over on this side. You've got like maybe a moisture evaporator over here. Another really cool thing about this is the top does come off. So if you wanted to move your miniatures on there and for area terrain and then put the top back on later, it's got these little grooves. You could glue it into here if you want. Most of the stuff that's optional and the pieces that come off or that you can kind of reconfigure, most of all that stuff I've glued already. But this one I didn't because I think there's very likely I may want to be able to get in there and check range, check line of sight and stuff like that. So this is a really cool piece. And also we can kind of showcase it a little bit better. As we go in there, we can see there's a whole personality in here. Maybe they were having lunch and they fled as the battle started. There's 2 cups. Maybe there was a courtship in place here. Maybe somebody was trying to close a business deal, right? And they were pouring an alcoholic beverage, or maybe this container here holds some death sticks. Maybe all kinds of crazy, unscrupulous business is going on. I don't know. And then when we're done with that, we can just put this back on, and this is going to rest right in there. And boom, and we've got and also this makes for an easier paint job. You can set this part because this is probably going to be some kind of animal, bantha skin or something like that. And you can take that off and paint that completely separate than everything else. And boom, there you go. All right, last but certainly not least, this is the largest piece in the bunch. And I'm going to actually zoom out a little bit to give you a better view of this one because this one is pretty big. All right, so this is a much larger house. It's multi-story, a much taller piece of terrain. You do have some flat, higher elevation terrain over here for maybe a sniper to kind of hang out in, kind of be able to hide partially behind some of this to shoot out this way. You have a different merchant stand over here. You've got some ladders. If you're using like rules where ladders can give you faster movement or something like that, it works. So it's also really cool for like Shatterpoint type stuff. Then ladders are always interesting. But for all of your stuff, or you're using this stuff for role playing games and you want the ladders to actually be functional and to have more of a purpose in them. You have lots of additional pieces and lots of extra things that you can do. This top is swappable to something else, but I did glue it on already. I know one of the things that they're working on in the Kickstarter is like domes and lots of ways to kind of customize your buildings and make them stand out. Or if you're going to be maybe you're going to do 3 of these and you want them to look slightly differently, you can, change out the tops and things like that. So there's a lot of different options and things that you can do because this whole top piece comes apart, but I glued it in because I didn't want to lose anything, and I'm probably going to keep it in this configuration. It is partially hollow as far as the print goes, so again, it's not going to break the bank on all of your materials if you're printing it out. So that is also pretty cool. But again, a lot of personality in here, a lot of cracks in the material, a lot of wiring, a lot of things down here at the bottom. Again, another little ladder piece right there. And they also have this system where there are, granted, you don't have to glue everything together. There are clips, so you can clip these things in. And although I decided to glue them so that they would stay in one configuration. But you don't have to glue them if you don't want to. But this is the biggest piece. Now I'll set everything up together. All right, so now I've kind of got the whole area set up, and this is a pretty good representation of kind of the size and how much, where it stands compared to actual tabletop miniatures. I've got a bunch of Legion miniatures out here. As you can see, this building is holding a whole super squad of stormtroopers right now, so you can fit quite a bit on top of them. And as far as the height goes, I've got a single guy crouching over here. We can fit miniatures underneath this section here as well. And definitely great for, terrain that's taller than height 1, which is certainly an important thing to have in your games. I'm going to throw a little primer on this, and then we'll see how it looks with a little bit of paint on, a little bit of color on it. I'm not going to do a robust paint job, just going to give you a quick idea. All right, so I hit this with some textured spray paint and a little bit of purple from the top, and just to give it a little bit of an idea of how they look with a little bit of color on them. So again, this is very, very rough. This is just like one can of primer and then an alternate color, an accent color, just from the top. No brushes or no detail in there, but kind of just primed, and I'll probably come back and do some detail stuff on there. But I just wanted to have a little fun with it because I figure I wanted to do something quick and give you guys a rough idea of how it went with at least a prime on there and maybe a quick sloppy accent color from the top. There's plenty more you can do, but one of the beautiful things about terrain, beautiful, is that you can have fun and you don't have to worry about, messing it up so much. You put a prime on there, you're probably, like two tones, like a prime from one side and a slightly different color from another side, boom, you've got like multi-tone terrain and you can be done there, or you can take it as far as you want or not as far as you want. You can take it however you want to take it. So that is our terrain. A big thanks to War Scenery for sending this out, and check out the Kickstarter in the link below. It is live right now. You can pledge and participate and check out whatever else they have to offer over there. And I will talk to you guys later. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are amazing and help make this channel possible. If you're interested in Patreon, check out the links in the description below. I will talk to you later. May the force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. So say we all. And always wash your socks.